Alright, Nintendo Switch fans, you clicked on this video. Because you're thinking about buying a Pro controller, I'm going to show you exactly why that might be a huge mistake. But here's what surprised me after testing it for months. This isn't just about whether it's good or bad, it's about whether it's the right controller for you at all. And I discovered some problems you definitely need to know before spending your money for the best price. Click the link in the description. Let's be honest, you're probably tired of the Joy-Con feeling cramped, or that tiny D-pad. You want a premium full-sized controller for your Switch sessions. The Pro controller promises that take your game sessions up a notch. Right, that's the official line. Includes motion controls, HD rumble, amiibo support, all the bells and whistles. It even has a 4.7-star rating on Amazon. And a price tag of around $76 sounds like the perfect upgrade, doesn't it? But is it really? Therefore, we need to dig deep. And I'm not just going to list features, I'm going to tell you what happens after the honeymoon phase wears off, because that's where the real review begins. First, the unboxing experience. It comes with a USB-C to USB-A cable for charging. That's fine. The controller itself feels solid in the hand. The weight is good. The plastic is smooth. It looks premium. But let's talk about that first major problem right away, the D-pad. The Nintendo Switch Pro controller has arguably one of the worst D-pads on a modern premium controller. It's mushy. It registers diagonal inputs when you're just pressing left or right. Playing a classic 2D game like a retro platformer becomes a gamble. You think you're running straight, but you're crouching. It's like the controller has a secret desire to make you fail. That's joke number one. By the way, the D-pad is so bad, it probably thinks it's a Joy-Con in disguise. Therefore, if you're a fan of games that require precise D-pad inputs, this is a massive red flag. Now the good stuff, the analog sticks. They are excellent, smooth, precise, with a good grip. Range. The face buttons A, B, X, Y are responsive and clicky. The triggers and bumpers feel great for most games. The HD rumble is subtle and effective. You can feel the little clicks in games like Mario Kart. The battery life is legendary. Seriously, you can go weeks without charging it. It's a marathon runner in a world of sprinting controllers. And the amiibo functionality is just tap and go. So for many games, especially 3D titles like Zelda or Splatoon, this controller feels fantastic. But here's the twist: this controller is designed for Nintendo games, and yet it fails at some fundamental Nintendo experiences. Therefore, we have to weigh the pros against very specific cons. Let's dive into the second major problem: motion controls. They are included as the product description says, but they are not as precise as the Joy-Con for games that rely heavily on motion like aiming in Splatoon 2, or the delicate movements in Super Mario Odyssey. You might find yourself missing the split Joy-Con freedom. The Pro controller is a unified brick. Your wrists aren't as free. It's a bit like trying to do ballet in a suit of armor. That's joke number two. It's elegant but restrictive. Therefore, if you love motion-controlled games, this premium controller might actually be a downgrade in that specific area. What about connectivity and lag? It connects seamlessly, and I experienced no noticeable input delay in my testing. It's rock solid here. But another issue creeps up: the price, $75.99. That is a significant investment for a controller that has a flawed D-pad and less optimal motion control. You could buy a whole new game for that price. Or you could consider alternative controllers from other brands that might offer more features for less. Therefore, the value proposition starts to wobble when you examine the flaws. Time for joke number three. The Pro controller is like a high-end sports car with a terrible GPS system. It feels great to drive, but it might get you lost on a simple road trip. Now let's look at the top reviews from Amazon. I analyzed them. Many praise the comfort, the battery life, the build quality. People love it. But some of the most insightful reviews buried in the ratings highlight the D-pad issue and mention that for hardcore gamers it's not perfect. Therefore, the 4.7-star average is a bit misleading. It's averaging across casual players who adore it and critical players who are disappointed. You need to know which category you fall into. Let's talk about compatibility with Control Freak thumbsticks. The product page mentions they are compatible. That's a plus for customization. You can add taller grips for more precision. But that's an extra cost on top of the $76. So you're investing further into a controller with inherent design flaws. It's like buying a fancy house and then having to pay extra to fix the foundation. That's the final joke. Therefore, the accessory support is good, but it doesn't solve the core problems. Now the biggest question, should you buy it? Here's my resolution based on the deep dive. If you primarily play 3D adventure games, racing games, or any title where the analog sticks are the main input, and you value incredible battery life and comfort above all else, the Nintendo Switch Pro controller is a wonderful upgrade. It will elevate those sessions. The build quality is premium for Nintendo standards. But if you are a retro gamer, a 2D platformer, enthusiast, a fan of puzzle games, or any genre that relies heavily on a precise D-pad, you should avoid this controller. The D-pad will frustrate you. And if you play a mix of games but really enjoy the motion control immersion of the Joy-Con, you might find this controller a step back in that specific fun factor. Therefore, your gaming habits are the deciding factor. What about alternatives? There are excellent third-party controllers from brands like 8-Bit Do that offer better D-pads, more customization, and sometimes even lower prices. They might not have the official HD rumble or the same battery life, but they solve the critical flaws of the Pro controller. You need to consider your priority. Is it official Nintendo perfection? Or is it functional precision for all game types? That's the core of this honest review. So my final verdict, the Nintendo Switch Pro controller is a good controller, but it is not a great controller for everyone. It has standout strengths and glaring weaknesses. It's a product of compromise. Therefore, don't buy it blindly. Don't buy it just because it's the official premium option. Buy it only if your specific gaming needs align perfectly with its strengths. And if you do decide it's right for you after all this, for the best price currently on Amazon, click the link in the description below. I've checked and it might save you a few bucks compared to other stores. Thanks for watching.